Hi guys, Jamie here. Welcome back to my home kitchen. Today I want to share with you my steak tartare puttanesca. It's really simple. It's exactly the same ingredient list with the addition of a few mint leaves to give it that freshness as the pasta sauce. So it's got some spice in there with the chili. We've got some anchovies. These are the Italian ones which are salted and then put into oil. If you can find the Spanish ones that are done in vinegar, then that would be top because the salt content is really high on this. So be careful when it comes to seasoning. Some cherry tomatoes, some basil leaves, a few mint. I've got some black olives that I'm going to make a tapenade, and then we're going to brush the toasted baguette rather than actually put it in there. I've got a teaspoon of capers, and that's for the one steak. So it's pretty much one that you just can gauge yourself depending on your personal taste. So the more you increase the steak, the more you have to increase everything else. But you just taste it as you go and it will be the easiest way. So I've got a shallot, the chili, and then the salt. So it really is really easy. So the first thing I'm going to do is slice up my beef. And with the beef, I just like to dice it as small as I can, so you don't have those big chunks because it's raw. It's just much more pleasant to eat when it's actually really fine. So you don't need to run the knife through it, just get it as fine as you can, and then that will be good. Straight onto the shallot. You can use the same board because it's all raw, so it doesn't matter about having the blood on the board because you're not going to cook it anyway. So a shallot, we can just run the knife through that so it's nice and fine. Do the other side. That can go in. So the chili, depending on how spicy you like it, you can put the seeds in or not. So I'm going to leave them out. I'm just going to do a nice brunoise of half of the chili and leave the seeds out. So you just get the flavour of that chili, but not actual making it super spicy. So brunoise of that. And then afterwards, if we need to add any more, we can try it and then decide on what extra things we need to increase the volume on. So I've got my capers. The capers I always get really, really fine because people don't think that they like them. And then if you actually have it with it and then without, they're always like there's something missing, and it's the capers, but they've got the impression that they don't like them. So we just put these, make these really, really fine. So these ones have been soaked in vinegar and just add a great depth of flavour to the dish. So give it a go, even if you just make up a small batch and then just put some capers in there just to see if you like it or not, because they're really, really worth putting in. And then I've got these Italian anchovies. So that also we can break down as fine as possible, so it's just the flavouring. You don't want any chunks of it, especially these ones, because you can hear the bones getting crunched up. So you really want to break all of that down, so you're just using the anchovy as a flavouring rather than actually being like visible in the dish. And then that can go in, and then we've just got some cherry tomatoes that I'm going to fold in. So probably go into quarter with these so you can see those, and then just going to do like 6 or 7 of them just to get a colour pop, and then you've got that tomato element in there. And then I'm just going to grab my mint leaves. So by the time it's done, it will be about a teaspoon of mint is going to go in there. So you can just run the knife through that really finely. Don't over chop it because it will go black. So just run the knife through it once and that will be plenty. And then I've also got some basil that we can roll up and put that through as well. Exactly the same. Don't over chop it because it will discolour and make it just look really, really dark. So you want to keep those colours in there so it looks nice and vibrant. So That basil can go in. And then if you've got any baby leaves afterwards, you can just pick those off and use those as garnish. But what we're gonna do is, I haven't put any garlic in the mix, and what I'm gonna do is slice really thin pieces, and then we're gonna deep fry these so we get some nice garlic chips, and then we can just sprinkle those on top for a nice little bit of garnish. And also there's a bit of crunch there. We're still gonna have the crunch from the bread, but it just makes it a little bit nicer to do it that way. And also it's a different flavour when you deep fry the garlic. So don't worry about it if it's not too thin. Just when you come to deep frying it, just do it on a moderate heat, and then it will just take a bit longer, but it's worth doing because it's a nice little touch. So we've got everything in there. Got the mint, tomatoes, shallot, basil, chilli, capers and anchovies. So we're just going to leave that sit while we make our garlic chips. So when they go in, just make sure that they break up, because you don't want them to stick together, because that's going to stop them from, first of all, cooking evenly, and also they won't colour evenly either. So when they go in, just make sure you drop them separately, or just drop them in and then whisk them up just so they come apart. See, they're starting to get some colour on now. They're almost there. Once they're crispy, then that's it. And you can keep that oil then, don't get rid of this oil. You can use an olive oil, and then afterwards you're gonna have a garlic oil to use. So I've just got a little sieve, and I'm just gonna strain them out and put them on a chuck, on a J cloth, to soak up all that oil. That is plenty. That was only 2 cloves of garlic, and it's enough for quite a few portions. So I'm just gonna make a really easy tapenade. So I've got some black olives, obviously no stone in there, and gonna add some olive oil to that. So I'm not gonna put any garlic or anything. I've got my garlic chips, so I don't wanna overpower that flavor there. So I'm just gonna whiz this up. And then we can just put that straight into a bowl. And there's a lot there, but anything that's left over you can just use for focaccia, throw it through pasta dishes, whatever you want. So it's gonna last a while in the fridge, so you'll get through it before it goes bad. So we can just set that aside, and then we can just get some slices of our baguette. So when you actually come to doing this one, if you've got like a group of people over, it could just be in the center, or you can actually do it individually. So you can just stack it up in the middle of the table, and then everyone can just help themselves. So makes it easy, effortless, entertaining. So you can just drizzle over a bit of oil, and then they can go straight into the pan. Not going to toast it too much, just want to get a nice bit of colour on there so it's a little bit crispy. Just give them a flip them over once they've got some colour on, do the other side. And then once they're nicely toasted, we're pretty much ready to plate up. So you can bring those over. This has been sitting, it just allows it to develop its flavour. Even though those anchovies are really salty and we're going to have salt content from this, it still needs a little bit more salt. So I've got some pink Himalayan here, that can go in. I'm going to put a touch of olive oil, and I want to put a little bit more chilli in there. That can go in. Just give that a mix. And that is it. So give that a try. That's good. Some black pepper. And that is it, ready to plate. So I'm just going to grab this one. And then we can just spoon some of that up however you like. So I'm just going to do it off center, and then my crostinis can go on the other side. And then for the crostinis, just gonna with a really small amount, just gonna drop some on and then just brush it over. So it's a really light flavouring of olive there. We just do 3 pieces. That would be plenty for that amount of beef. So that can go in. And then we've got our chips. So we can just spike those in anywhere. And what's great about this dish, if you've got people over, you can just make it all ahead of time. So even the crostinis, you can just like do through the oven, however you like. Just makes it really, really easy. So a few garlic chips, and then I've just picked the smallest leaves off my bunch of basil to give it that pop of green against the tomato there. So it just looks really fresh and vibrant. So that is it. That is my Puttanesca tartare. So really easy, really simple, packing loads of flavour and just an awesome little tasty little bite to start with. So give it a go. I hope you like this video. It's a pretty awesome one. So if you do try it, then make sure you comment below, because I'd love to hear your opinion on what you reckon of it, and hit that bell, hit subscribe, do all of that stuff that we love doing in 2021. So I will see you in the next video.